So this is a slight update video for March Mystery Madness in regards to my reading. It is the 5th of March, and I can say that I finished one book, and that book happened to be Cocaine Blues by Kerry Greenwood. Okay, it took me 2 days to finish it. I wanted to stretch it to 3, but there was actually a hold placed on it at the library, so I was like, okay, well, let's just go ahead, because I don't, I'm such a goody-goody. It's like I want to make sure that everybody gets their books, and I don't want to hold anybody up. So, yeah, I finished that book. I got a lot of different various comments about that reading. The first, Miss Phryne, or Phryne. I could easily look it up, but I'm lazy, so we're going with Phryne. Someone told me to hold on to the E. My southern tongue can do it, so we're going to stick with Phryne. Phryne Fisher series. Now, I enjoyed this book. It was definitely the first book within the series. Obviously, you can tell by, the actual content itself. But I still enjoyed the series because, if anything else, one of the glowing factors that I actually appreciated and loved was the eccentric character of Miss Phryne Fisher herself. The selling point easily is the character of Phryne. I enjoyed Cocaine Blues because of that eccentric character, and I like the fact that the author didn't just she did sort of, but not so much. There was a backstory allowed, but she didn't throw Phryne a huge amount of wealth just so she can go lackadaisically through the world, traveling, carte blanche, doing whatever she wanted to do. Sometimes in a mystery or in a book in general, one of the characters who are afforded a lot of wealth is just kind of given to them. In Phryne's case, the backstory is that she didn't grow up with wealth or of any sort. She actually had to do a lot of work herself. But it's through the lineage of her family, where 3, I think, uncles passed away and her sister passed away, that sort of skyrocketed her and her father closer to their point in reference to their nobility. So that's right. Phryne is not only a socialite, a wealthy person, she's actually connected to royalty, and that's what affords her the lifestyle that she lives, which consists of a lot of drinking and a lot of smoking. I think if it was the timeline now, Phryne would probably be like a heavy vapor or something like that. I'm just saying that's just kind of what I get. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So if I was to read the second book in the series, it would definitely be because I like that eccentric character of Phryne. I like the fact that she does have all this affordability to move and traverse in ways other characters cannot, but she does have an observation from, her more humble beginnings that allows her to connect with characters who are seen in the book who were stationed in that same kind of position where they don't have a lot of money and wealth and resources to move about. And that's what allows Phryne to sort of shuffle money their way and jobs their way to try to pull them up, and in a lot of cases attach themselves to her so that they can help her with her sleuthing efforts. So with that out of the way, in terms of an investigation, there's an A story and a B story. At the beginning of the book, Phryne sort of showcases her investigative abilities during a dinner scene that has to do with some stolen jewelry. So she solves that little tight-knit mystery right away, and then there's a colonel who suddenly attaches himself to her and asks, can she go to Australia to investigate the goings-ons with his daughter. His daughter is an individual who is married to a man. There's some suspicions of abuse, but mainly when he sees his daughter, there's a lot of, there's a space in which they were estranged, but there's a lot of sort of suggestion that her health is not exactly in order. Sometimes she's looking frail, sometimes she's looking healthy. The same applies to her mental state when he do get in contact with her. So he just wants Phryne to be a sort of just a blanket force of influence to see exactly what's happening with his daughter. And the further hinting of that has a lot to do with, as the title states, Cocaine Blues. And then there's a B story where a lot of girls in the Melbourne area from various different backgrounds, they end up finding themselves pregnant and they seek some, an abortion, and it turns into a botched affair where a lot of girls end up, of course, septic death, that sort of thing happens, but one girl ends up surviving, and she is the catalyst to Phryne investigating that B story. You would think the two stories would come together, but they didn't quite come together, which is kind of okay, I suppose. The book is just what it is. So with that said, what did I think about the book? The book was okay. I think the primary things that I enjoyed was just the author providing, they were really minute, but providing little details about the Melbourne area, the specifics of the cars that they drive, the specifics of the fabric that their dresses are made of. She even went into like what their hairs were, 1920s we're thinking about, what their hair was styled with, the product. She gave enough details, so much so that I actually, and this is what I love, I actually went to Google some of the things, like when Phryne would be on a specific street in Melbourne. I will go, like, I think one of them is called like Old Arcade or something like that, but I will go and just Google like, okay, so this is an actual real place. I'm not saying that the author's description of the place is actually helpful. It's pretty loose on descriptions, and that's kind of okay, but still just being able to tangibly grab or grasp what it is that she was laying out before this character, even from a secondary source such as Google, kind of worked for me. I enjoyed that part. But nevertheless, I don't know quite if I'm going to go into a second book right now. It's one of those series where it's just kind of give or take right now with me, with so many series that I still want to read. Not 100% sure, but I did enjoy the book enough. And like I said before, and once again, the primary selling point for me was the character of Phryne. I love the fact that she was so eccentric but smart and intelligent, and was filled with so much compassion for other characters. So that was good. You could easily see her as somebody who's uptight and obnoxious, but nah, she wasn't. She was pretty cool. I like Phryne. That's a good selling point for me. So yeah, I might not read the next book quite so soon, but it'll be one of those books that's kind of in the back of my mind, and maybe one day. So that's kind of all I really want to share as it regards to Cocaine Blues. I know some people was like, they would like to hear what I had to think about it. Really, there's nothing that complex. There's nothing that deep. It's just that I loved the character of Phryne, and I loved the dialogue. I should mention that the dialogue is one of the things I was looking forward to, was some witticisms with this character. I was hoping for that, and humor, and Greenwood did not fail. I love it when the humor in books go over my head to the point where I have to keep reading back or read again just to pick up on those shady clues that are thrown out. And Phryne's story was filled with those moments all the time. Sometimes I get it right away, and then sometimes I gotta be like, oh, that's a little bit of a nasty thing to say, but she's right, she's honest. But that's it. We'll see what the next sort of books I have to read has to share. I don't know, something on my mind.